Hello everyone, welcome back to the show. Always interesting to find out what's going on in the restaurant business, and now as it has extended onto the street.
That's
You're
right.
You're gonna make fun of my voice too, aren't you? I can see it.
Never.
Andrew Morrison is joining us from Scout Magazine. How are you, Andrew?
I'm doing very well, thank you.
So we're gonna start with a little spot in Gastown with a happy little name. It's called L'Abattoir.
Yes, French for let's kill
Slaughterhouse.
everything and dress
Slaughterhouse.
ourselves in blood. And
Now
Slaughterhouse.
this is just off of Blood Alley. Now is it the old Irish Heather location?
It is the original, yeah. It's 217 Carroll Street in the heart of, I mean, it's an iconic address. It really says Gastown to me. And it's an amazing group of people. It's Lee Cooper, who's a very talented young chef who's worked in some really wonderful restaurants.
Well, I was reading your article where you listed his pedigree and where he's gone through over the last number of years.
And there's Paul Grunberg, who was the GM at, he was at Feeney's, he was the GM at Bow Bay, Market, Shambar. So this is his first kick at the ownership can, so you know.
So
it's
I'm going to assume with a name like Abattoir, they're going to have meat there?
I think
it would be weird if it were vegan.
I don't think it's meat is their anchor or a gimmick. I think it's just to pay homage to the stories that are surrounded about Blood Alley and the old butcher houses that used to be there.
And are they picking a specific style? I mean, the name would sort of indicate that maybe it's going to be French influence at least.
Yeah, the thing that Gastown is missing, in my view, is something that's just a little bit finer.
Yeah.
It lends, I mean, there's a lot of, and don't get me wrong, they're going to have a great bar program here. I mean, it's Sean Layton, who's this year's Vancouver Magazine Bartender of the Year. Yeah. Jake Skaken is doing the wines. He's from Salt Tasting Room. But they're only open until midnight. They're gonna be shut down early, and it's about dining more than it is about drinking and cajoling.
Because there's a lot of night spots in Gastown, which have great food, but
there's nothing a little bit finer. So they're doing French. There's still not gonna be, I don't think, tablecloths or anything like that. And I'm gonna be working there for the first week.
You're not.
Are you really?
I'm writing a story for Vancouver Magazine about service in Vancouver, and I said to Paul, hey, I'm gonna come in and just see what it's like to open.
Now, Andrew,
you actually have to go back to work?
I know. It's been 6 years since I worked in a restaurant, I think. And
so if you get Morrison as your
I'm gonna go because I want some good
I think I'm just gonna be running food. I might be expediting, like delivering stuff. We'll see.
Now next we're talking about a spot called Cafeteria. Tell us about this.
Yeah, this is really I've loved it. I've gone I think 3 times now. It used to be Ping's Cafe at Main and 11th. Yep. And it's Andre Durbach and Chris Stewart who own Pied à Terre and La Buca, and they had Parkside in the West End, and they wanted something small, as is all their restaurants are like 30 seats.
They're so brilliant at that small room concept.
So this is even cheaper than what they've done before. No dishes over $20, and I've had some great food. I've had some really, what did I have? I had veal schnitzel, chicken schnitzel. I had some wonderful
you like
salads.
The schnitzel.
I'm a schnitzel kind of guy.
I never want to pigeonhole you, but I always thought in my mind, he looks like a schnitzel guy.
Okay, we have to talk about the Vancouver street vendors, the program that has started, how it was picked. There's a fantastic article if people want to read more that you've written on Scout Magazine. But first of all, let's talk about the program itself. How did this whole thing work?
Well, Vancouver's always had a problem with street food.
Yeah, we've been in the dark ages.
Yeah, 22 years ago, I think the city passed a bylaw saying that the only thing that Vancouverites could eat off the street were hot dogs, chestnuts, and popcorn.
Yeah, and it kills. When you go down to a city like Portland or San Francisco, I mean, it's...
And people aren't dropping dead down there from the food that we get off the streets. But because of the no fun sort of thing that we're stuck with here in Vancouver, we've had this problem. And I give credit to the mayor and some councillors like Heather Deal who've sort of looked at the lay of the land and said, wow, we really screwed up. Let's try and fix this. And so they've put in place this pilot project to bring street food.
But they did, the methodology of picking who is going to run these vendings is a little... It's a little wonky.
It's a little wonky. I mean, if you're going to do a pilot project, it should be, and you want it to succeed, it should be built to succeed. Yeah. In my view.
In other words, guys that know the food, have some money behind them, and
who are tried and true chefs and restaurateurs who are eager to get this started, who've been lobbying to get this started.
And a lot of chefs in our town wanted to start, but how did they pick? Because they've given out the licenses.
Yes.
How did they pick those who got the licenses?
They put everyone in a room. There was 17 spaces to be had, 800 applicants, and they put all the applicants' names in a bingo
They did. So they really did this.
Was there a screening process beforehand?
No, there is no screening process whatsoever. All you needed was $50 and a valid driver's license.
And how much will it cost to the 17 who won the raffle? How much would it cost per year for them to operate?
It's $43,000 for a metered space to book for a year.
So you should have some experience on how to turn a buck, I guess.
Yeah, and some of the winners. I mean, I'm really excited about this, and I know that the end result is going to be wonderful, and I applaud the city for this. But there's chocolate dipped fruit as an option.
What?
That was one winner. And you know, chocolate dipped fruit is fine, but you can get it at the P&E. It's not street food. It's not what what I want that I see in New York or LA or
well, and
or
you
Portland.
have to wonder at some point too whether you're setting people up to have long-term success when they have to get a return on just their initial investment of $45,000.
It's like the lady who's got the English Bay location, arguably the best location of them all. Her concept is lemonade.
So she's going to sell lemonade.
And one of the comments on the website was like, "Don't be such a snob." You know, enough about fancy food. Everybody loves lemonade. And my counter argument would be, I'm not being a snob. I love lemonade. I like cotton candy, but look at the math of it. First, you don't want lemonade in January.
Yeah.
You're not going to want a $5 glass of lemonade because maybe that's what it's not going to be cheap. This is going to be fancy lemonade.
So let's talk about the pluses of these 17 licenses. Which food are you excited about?
Oh, there was some falafel. There was Southern barbecue. There's
barbecue.
There's some dim sum.
That's street food.
But because of the methodology, we ran a risk of getting 17 different falafel trucks.
Yeah, you just didn't know.
You had no idea. And
you know what we should have gotten? You said Paul the Octopus.
Yes, Paul the Octopus to decide, and we could have had a better job.
Muscles.
But I mean, let's say there is a winner and an alternate. So this is the genius of the City Hall's plan. If the winner can't be in operation in 22 days and pass a coastal health inspection, he or she has to be bumped to the alternate. Now, we don't know what the alternate's concepts are. They've been named, but we don't know what their concepts are. If they don't succeed in 22 days, there is no plan C. They didn't draw names for an alternate.
Wow.
So we just...
Interesting.
So it just seems to me like the city just didn't...
Yeah, there was a great idea.
Due diligence.
Yeah.
Because not all chefs and dishes are created equal. I love the democratic approach, but they could have done what they do with buskers, where they audition and say, are you any good?
Well, and your first point was, just an incredibly valid and great one, is that this is a pilot project. You want this to succeed. You want people to really get enthusiastic about this and not have to, scarf a nasty hot dog down on the street at, whatever point of the evening they choose to eat those hot dogs.
Pardon me, Mike?
Maybe 3
Is somebody having regret?
Regret. I can just taste
if you want to read Andrew's article on the street food program, Street Meat as we call it here, you can check it out and a whole lot more at the Scout Magazine website. Andrew, thank you as always. And of course, you can find out about all the restaurants in town there as well if you're looking for somewhere to go. We're
going to keep on the restaurant theme when we come back. Eli and Corey will be joining us from Rogue Kitchen and Wet Bar to talk about their concept that includes pay as you may, or pay as you go, or
pay as you go.
Pay as you go.
That's a cell phone.
Pay what you want. That's what I was looking for. Wow. I really did get dumber this weekend. Awesome.
Pay as you go. I'd like another bite, please, sir.
Still to come, fashion designer Sky Marcano and musical guest Nima.